How is it that 30 years later, this is what women get for Christmas instead of this? Now, okay, I know Die Hard is debatable whether it's a Christmas movie or not. Who cares? This is still one of the most feminist Christmas movies I've ever seen. I'm going to explain why in a minute. What I cannot believe is that Christmas now is obsessed with like princes. Everything is about single women finding a man, particularly a prince, so you don't die a loser. Like, what is it with the prince? They're obsessed. Now, I know, y'all know, if you watch my content, you know that I deconstruct a lot of the movies that I grew up with. And honestly, I feel like I got lucky. I grew up in this sweet spot with Roseanne, Designing Women, The Golden Girls, Who's the Boss. Now, these are still like not the best in terms of where feminism is at today, or womanism. We went from that to this trash and this and this. Which, I mean, most of this crap is written by men, of course. This is literally the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Not even Christmas movie, just worst movie ever. It's the dumbest movie I've ever seen. And it makes no sense. But, you know, it's written by a man, so. Literally everything in the 90s is like, you're a loser unless you're married. You have to settle for losers because you should feel lucky that anyone wants to marry you. Even if you're beautiful and successful and all that stuff, you're probably an uptight bitch. And you should be happy that any man will put up with you. That is like the message of the 90s and the early 2000s. Remind me to do this one. This movie is next level. I watched it the other day. Talk about dating down. But let's get back to this movie. So this woman is Bruce Willis's wife. And we find out because of this man, his limo driver, who, by the way, I love the fact that the cops are worse than even the terrorists. This woman is basically the hero. I know Bruce Willis is the one who, like, you know, officially saves the day, but he could not have done it without her. And I'm going to tell you why this woman is such a badass. We find out right away after he picks Bruce Willis up from the airport. I love this driver. He's so funny. He's so personable. And he asks him a lot of like straightforward questions and gets him to talk. We find out right away that Bruce Willis is coming to LA to see his family, who abandoned him because of his ego. This kind of goes in line with what I've been talking about. I believe this is like the only scenario where a woman dated down. By dating down, I mean she dated like a toxically masculine cop. Okay, besides the fact that this movie is like propaganda, it still actually makes most cops look like terrible people. Except the black cop who becomes his friend and him. And he's like, fork you all the time to the other cops. The cops, the FBI, literally all, like even the white male journalists are all the worst people. I kind of like a lot of the messaging in this. And so we find out right away that he's going to see his wife who is divorcing him. And he's like, wait, why are you not with your wife? He's like, because I'm a cop in New York. You know, she got her fancy job and followed her job to LA. And I had to stay in New York because, you know, there's just so many criminals and I need to, you know, whatever. This guy saw right through it. And he was just like, in other words, you thought that she wasn't going to make it out here and you thought she'd come crawling back to you because you wouldn't support her career. Like, basically, that's what he said. And he's like, dang it. He's right. We learn right away that, you know, we can tell just by the way she looks at him that she loves Bruce Willis. I just say Bruce Willis because I'm not going to use their names. It's too confusing. She loves him by the way she looks at him, by the way she's like hoping that he'll come home for Christmas. The fact he didn't call, she was like, all right, well, I guess we're putting him in the guest room. She's drawn some boundaries with this man. Like, look, I have to do this. I mean, he's a cop. You see the place that she works, her job is so nice. But his ego and him centering himself like the king baby energy that he seems to have in the beginning of this movie is why she was like, fork off. If you don't want to support me, bye-bye. And as y'all know, we've been talking a lot about with what's going on. You cannot support your amazing wife who is more successful than you, and you try to humble her and pull her down to your level and ask her to sacrifice all of her amazingness to come down to your level. You are better off alone. You do not deserve her. In fact, we find out right away that not only has she started her whole new life for herself because this man was not going to drag her backwards, she also went back to using her maiden name. She also invites him to her Christmas party at her fancy job. Like, oh, you want to see me? You can come to my job and see me. I love that. And she's even still vulnerable, you know? It's not like she's a cold-hearted person. She did what she needed to do for herself. She thought her husband coming back might have changed his tune, you know, realizing that he's losing his children and his wife because of his ego. She's like, you know, the kids would love to see you. Puts her heart out there and says, I would too. That takes courage. Even says, I missed you. He's like, well, I guess you didn't miss my name. See, that's all ego. Same old crap. Except for when you're signing checks. I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing maybe she's paying him alimony. Did you start using your name again? She tries to protect his ego a little bit. You know, the company. They thought I was a married woman. You are a married woman. Married to me. Even though I act like I'm the only person in this relationship because I'm a king baby. Like, you know what? Shut up. I'm not talking to you about this. I already went over this, buddy. The terms and conditions to being with me is that we don't center you. Like, look, I had this job opportunity and I had to take it. You weren't thinking about the consequences that had happened to me and what it did to our marriage. I love this. She was like, I know exactly what you think our marriage should be, and that's why I'm gone, buddy. I'm not going to do any of the like bang, bang, bang action sequences because this movie was so long and boring when it came to that. Because I don't care about action movies. But I love it at a certain point. She steps in is like, I don't really want to do this because you suck when talking to the bad guy. She's like, but because, you know, she is aware of the needs of everybody. Unlike most men in leadership positions, like you might want to fix the bathroom or things are going to get messy for all of us. Also make sure that the pregnant woman gets taken care of. Even the bad guy's like, dang, you're right. And she sees one of the bad guys like being like, ah! And he's like so mad. He's like, oh, my husband's still alive. Only John can drive someone that crazy. So her husband finally comes around. You know, like a lot of men, it takes him almost dying. Like it wasn't enough to lose his wife and his children. The protector and provider can't sacrifice literally anything for his family. Classic. Lose literally all that. But when he almost loses his life, then he's like, maybe I was wrong. So he tells his cop friend, like, if I die, will you tell my wife? It took me way too long to figure this crap out, but I'm a jerk. And when her career started to do well, I should have been supportive, like a real partner would. I should have been behind her more. And also, she's the best thing that ever happened to me. That I was willing to give up like that. She wouldn't center me. Also recognize that she basically went for like a bum. I don't know how much I talk about don't date down. It doesn't mean that you can't date men below your income bracket, but only if these men are confident, lots to offer, are your biggest cheerleader, one of your biggest supportive people in your life, make your life better. It's okay if they don't make as much money as you, but only if they're confident, they love the crap out of you, your life gets better as a result of them, rather than you having to fight for it to not get worse. This man lives on a cop salary, and he's married to a woman like that. And he finally recognizes, dang, I hit the jackpot, and all I had to do was support her. Even says, like, she's heard me say I love you 1,000 times, but she's never heard me say I'm sorry. This is a big red flag. A man that cannot say I'm sorry regularly and also know what he's sorry for and actually change his behavior rather than just saying I'm sorry to shut you up. Do not ever date a man who cannot admit when he's wrong easily, but not in a manipulative way. So this is progress for this guy, but I still don't think he's good enough for her. I love the wife even talks to him. You're nothing but a common thief. He's like, no, I'm a big thief. I'm a big man thief. I love that my husband noticed this. You can't see it in this photo, but they actually open up her shirt so it's showing cleavage. I noticed that, but Anthony was like, why'd they do that to her? Because she knows him so well. She knows exactly what he's going to do before he does it. Even a pew-pew to her head, one step ahead of everybody. She ends up kissing him at the end, punching this reporter in the face. Ow! And he moves to LA to be with her. Her self-respect and high standard kept her butt in LA. And we find out in Die Hard 2, he's finally moved to join her. I want to see more of this and way less of this and imperialism.